Hello and welcome everybody. It's Thursday night, so it's time for another MyRoute-app Community Broadcast here on Facebook. My name is Serge, and tonight I want to talk to you about our RouteXpert community. Maybe you've seen it already when you visited our website, maybe you haven't. So let tonight be a deep dive into the RouteXpert community and the people behind the great routes that you can download and use for free from the MyRoute-app website. And to show you what I mean, I think it's best if I first introduce the website to you. If you visit MyRoute-app, this is what you get. Before you even log in, you can see everything that has to do with MyRoute-app, the type of applications that we provide. But there's the largest archive of verified routes across the globe that you can use, download for free. This is what we call the RouteXpert Library. And these are filled with routes across the world, and those are reviewed by the people that I will introduce to you in a minute. For those of you that haven't seen it before, let me quickly show you how, for example, the route collections work, which is a group of routes that are in a certain area, so that you can find routes that are linked together, for example, in the same region in Sweden or the same region in Australia. And when you click on the button next to it to view all the routes, you can then see what is in this collection. And the people that make this collection possible are the MyRoute-app route experts. And I would like to introduce you to these people. So without further ado, I will switch to my Zoom and I will wear my headset as always. And I'll just go around the block here. I'm in the middle, and right beneath me is one of our RouteXpert masters, and that's Nick. Hi, Nick. You're on mute, but maybe you hear me. Oh, I'm muted in the Zoom. I'm sorry. I muted myself too.
You did.
Silly. I was going to say, hey, this is the team of route experts that are joining me tonight. I'll go around, introduce you, everybody. Right below me is Nick. He's based in the UK. I'll talk with him a little bit more in a minute. Now I'm confused. To my left, it's Hans. Yep, Hans is also a MyRoute-app master. And he just did the same interview with me in the Dutch version we just did in the previous hour. So it's great to see him again. And on the other side, we have René, one of our more senior route experts, without using the term senior too lightly, because I'm going to come to that in a second. And other side there is Arno. He's also route expert that we can have a quick chat with in a minute. And then Timo, you've already seen. He's to my other side. It's still difficult to point the right directions. There. He's the pretty guy that we spoke with earlier. And down at the bottom, we have Leonor, one of the Dutch-speaking, English-speaking route experts that was having a little bit of trouble with the connection earlier, but I'm happy that she's here now. And I'm dying to ask her some questions too. But without further ado, Nick, welcome to tonight's... Oh, it's not Nick that I see Timo. Nick, you need to make some noise because otherwise we see
Hi,
Timo.
I'm here.
Cool, great. Well, thank you for joining and welcome in this community broadcast. We're talking about route experts today, and you've been one from day one, right?
Yeah, pretty much day one. Back in 2018, Michelle we started off with a common library that any member of MyRoute-app could add their routes to. Mm-hmm. and it soon became clear that a lot of these routes were test routes. That people are put in just testing the system, and they were blocking the system, and it became clear that this wasn't what MyRoute-app wanted. So Michelle asked Hans and I if we would make better routes for the MyRoute-app route library, RouteXpert Library.
Yeah, and better in the sense of technically better, or better in the way of the region that the routes were posted on. Where does this quality control come from?
Both of those, and also to make sure that they were equal for both Garmin and TomTom users, and of course MyRoute-app navigation. So all routes that go into the RouteXpert library will work exactly the same for a Garmin, a TomTom, or MyRoute-app.
Navigation, yeah. So you and Hans are the two guys that have been route experts. Well, I'm not saying per se the longest, but you've been involved heavily, and that is why you have so much experience that Timo, like we spoke about in the previous broadcasts, decided let's make the community a little bit more professional, and to make that RouteXpert community professional, even more professional, I think Timo, you came up with another plan, and promote it. Can I say promote it?
Yeah, you can say promote it. It's definitely a step up in terms of responsibility. Because you have 3 groups within the RouteXpert community. I told everybody that's watching from the Dutch broadcast, and everybody that's here obviously already knows it, but there's 3 main groups, actually 4 main groups maybe even, within the RouteXpert community. The most important group isn't a special group at all. It's just the route experts themselves, people that have achieved their first certification, and are from that point onwards each year passing the required number of accreditation points to stay within the system. Another group is the people that are going to do their routing exam, that have applied to become a route expert. And because as Nick said, quality is so important, and we want to make sure that routes are equal everywhere, and freely available to everybody. There's a level of professionalization that we added that requires people to complete this exam procedure to begin with. So those are the people that are in training, so to speak. And what's kind of fun, I saw somebody in the comments, Ian, that's going to take his exam. He's about to take it, so I wish him good luck, Ian. And then there's the third group, which is the mentors. That's the people that help regular route experts and the route experts in training to find their way in creating routes and finding good ways to review, and helping them apply all the theoretical and practical knowledge properly within the format of what the route experts do. So that's the level of quality is always the same. And that's what we did. We started doing this in 2019, and now we're adding a new group to that, and that's to add even more independence and better internal quality control to the RouteXpert group, as well as give leadership that comes from within, not just from me as the official MyRoute-app community leader, but from the RouteXpert groups themselves. So we're adding 2 seniors, and for the Dutch community, that's Hans, and for the international community, we've asked Nick to become the senior of the RouteXpert community.
Great. Well,
beautiful achievement right there. Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. That's really good. So that's why I wanted to have Timo chime in a little bit. Nick, how do you like having become a senior route expert? Is that weighing heavily on your shoulders, or is that something that you just take in your stride?
It hasn't had chance to fully sink in yet. We're only in day 2, day 3, I think. Yeah. Although I looked at my first exam today from a new student that wants to become a route expert. So it's something different for me to do within the MyRoute-app, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's an extended hobby, right?
Absolutely.
Because you're maybe you can tell a little bit about yourself. You're Nick. You're from the UK. How did you come into contact with route planning? Are you a motorcycle rider? Do you go out a lot?
Well, I live in Devon. I live in between Exmoor and Dartmoor National Parks.
Great areas.
I'm spoilt for choice when it comes to riding. Yes, I'm a motorcyclist, as is my wife. And we both enjoy riding. I have quite an old bike now. It's a Honda Varadero, 2006. It's got quite a few thousand miles on the clock now, but it's still good and strong. It still takes me all around Europe. I began with Tire to Travel.
Yep.
And then MyRoute-app came along, and I looked at the idea of it, and I liked the thought of it being cloud-based, meaning that I could have my account, my routes, everything, wherever I was in the world, on any PC, any laptop, any tablet, and phone. So I like that, and that's why I joined MyRoute-app.
And then I imagine you started creating your first routes just for yourself. But what triggered you to do a little bit more? You started sharing routes on Facebook with the MyRoute-app Gold group, I remember. You even created your own Facebook group for the UK riders.
Yeah.
And then RouteXpert. What triggered you to become a RouteXpert?
Michelle asked. It's as simple as that, really. But as you say, for me, it's an extended hobby.
Yeah.
Especially this time of year. This time of year, this is what I do. I sit down and I plan routes for the coming warmer weather.
Yeah. As do many of us, right? And that's
absolutely.
So from RouteXpert, you grew into becoming a mentor. How did you like that? Is it something that comes natural to you, or is that something that you had experience with, mentoring people?
Yes, I've had. I'm a carpenter by trade, and I've had apprentices working for me. So I enjoy teaching people, especially people that want to learn. I get a buzz out of that. And you can see, when somebody's struggling with a problem, and then all of a sudden they understand it, and you can see a light comes on in their head. And it's the same when you're mentoring. You'll struggle on a certain aspect of producing a good route, and then all of a sudden your student clicks, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I see that happen in my work and in other things as well. But to come to that standard that you put everybody that is a RouteXpert now up to, that's an evolution in itself, right? There was nothing when RouteXpert started, so that had to be created. And you, together with Hans, have been very much involved in creating the guidelines, the manuals. Can you go into that a little bit?
I like things right. I like things correct, and I like to have a box where everything fits into nice and neatly. And if it starts straying off, you start losing the quality. And from the very beginning, Hans and I have been very, very tight with the quality. We want the quality to and get better and better and better. And it is the RouteXpert Library is getting better and better.
Yeah, the quality increased over time. One of the qualifications, let me rephrase that. What do you think a good route needs? So what is the minimum requirements for a route to become an expert route in the library? What does it have to have?
My idea of a good route might be different to somebody else's idea of a good route. But as long as they fall within the guidelines of MyRoute-app library, it's fine. I don't necessarily like fast roads, but I like to be able to see lots of things on the journey. I like to go past castles. I like to, all those things, whereas somebody else might like long, twisty roads. And that's what's good about having lots of different route experts. We'll all produce good quality routes, but they'll all be different.
Yeah, so what is the common features that every RouteXpert route has that sets them aside from, let's say, any public route that you might find on the internet against the individual qualities of the RouteXpert that made that route? Is there one common factor that we find in every route?
The most important thing is that they're made equal for TomTom, Garmin, and MyRoute-app navigation. That's the most important thing.
So they're ready to use. In fact, nobody has to
straight out the box, plug and play, upload it to your device, and away you go. And if you're riding with a group of people, and the group of people have got different devices, one might be using MyRoute-app navigation, another with TomTom, another with Garmin. if you end up being split up for some reason, or somebody wants to stop for a photo or a toilet break, they can, because they're using exactly the same route, they'll soon catch up.
Yeah, yeah, and every route has a few elements in it, right? I know that Hans told us in the Dutch version that every route at least has a coffee stop or a lunch stop in it. Yeah. We make sure that there's a gas station. Yeah. If it's not on the route, then it's close to. That's done with a reason, right? You want people to have a full day experience if you can.
We had coffee stops, lunch breaks, museums, and it's up to the user then whether they choose to stop at that particular cafe or restaurant. But we embellish all of our routes with stops, with points of interest that we add to the routes.
Now that's an interesting point, and I think it would be great if we can hear from some of the other route experts too. Maybe Renee can tell us a little bit about those points of interest and how you become an expert in finding those. I know that you have posted some routes in the US, and maybe you've been there, but there's also routes posted in Australia. And that's
I've been there too.
But it's not somewhere you go every week. So help us here. How do you get a good route and with all the interesting points that we need as riders?
Yeah, of course. You know, a lot of routes are based on our own travel, but some are not. And that's just going on the internet. Use Google, use Wikipedia, use the also in MRA themselves, you got the overlays of Google Maps. You can zoom in, you can see points of interest, but you can also use Street View. And as soon as you put Street View on, of course, you see the blue lines, but you also see the blue dots. Blue dots are pictures taken by people who've been there. So there is something to see there. Look into it, zoom in, see if it's something like a castle, or is it a museum, or is it a nice bridge or a river or whatever. And you can use that as a point of interest in your route.
Yeah, and then you maybe find some additional information to that specific location that you can then add into the description.
Yeah, you just Google the location, use Wikipedia. Like I said, there's a lot of information there. Google themselves as well, of course. And sometimes you can also use websites of travel agencies. They also provide some information. But it's reading and being a bit of a spy, looking for information. Of course, there are a lot of riders who also have blogs. I mean, there are many motorcyclists, but also other adventurers that blog their travel. Use it. And of course, in those cases, I always contact the person that creates a blog if it is allowed to use some of the information or some of their tracks. And in 99 times, they agree to it. So that's not a problem. Yeah,
that's good to hear. And Leonor, if I can jump to you for a sec, can you tell the audience a little bit about how much time it typically takes you to create a route and then review it to a point that you say this one is ready to publish?
I think it varies a bit. I remember from when I just joined the community, it took me up to 6 hours to create a single route. Just because Hans, my mentor at the time, was really strict. He wanted to make sure that I would follow all the guidelines and that I would reach the quality level. So I really had to learn how to use the system, but also, as Renee mentions, to use all the tips and tricks to come to a great route. And I think nowadays it depends a little bit on how eager I am to make a route. Sometimes I'm really interested in a region, so then I can spend again 6 hours on a route just to figure out all the nice places to go and visit and a nice route or road. And sometimes also within an hour or an hour and a half, if I know the area, for example, if I've been there in the past, then I'm quite quick and easy to create a nice route.
Great. And what is your favorite region to review in, or are you all over the place?
My most favorite region actually is Eastern Europe, because I think all of us have been riding in the Alps and exploring the mountains there, which are really beautiful, of course. But I really like Eastern Europe as well, because you don't have many travelers going there, many tourists. So for me, it's still a bit of an adventure. So I really like exploring those areas.
Great, thank you. Arno, if I may jump to you for a sec. I know that you are also a very proficient route expert. I see you post a lot on Facebook. What's your motivation to be a route expert, and what do you like about making routes and sharing them with people?
Well, it started about a decade ago. The first time we went with a group of friends to the Alps. And, someone had to make the routes, and that was me. And the other one liked it so much. The next year I had to do it again. And
that's how it typically goes, right? There's always that one guy that's really good at making routes. Yeah.
And I thought it would be fun if I could share those routes with other people. And that's where MyRoute-app came in. And so I took the exam of a route expert, and here I am.
Great. And can you maybe tell us a little bit more about route collections? I showed them at the beginning in my introduction. Why would people want a route collection and use it from the MyRoute-app website?
Well, it's a kind of an all-to-go ready and go trip. The routes you can use as you like, all of them or some of them.
Yeah.
So, and the routes are good, tested, with lots of information about the area you are in.
Yep. So if you want to go for a long weekend to the Black Forest, you can safely take one of the route collections containing routes in the Black Forest, put it in your sat-nav, put your sleeping bag or your hotel credit card in your bag, and just ready to go.
Ready to go, yeah.
Cool. I want to switch back to Nick for a second, because I heard exams come along for a couple of times now. Nick, can you tell us a little bit more on how to become a route expert, and what hurdles do you have to take when you think that you're ready to go, and then find yourself facing exams? Maybe that is something that people find scary, or do they not have to be scared?
No, they don't have to be scared at all. Well, the first thing to do is apply. And then you'll be asked to complete a little exam. And there's a manual to read. We've got MyRoute-app manual. All the answers, most of the answers for the exam are within that manual. So you fill in the exam, either Hans or I will look at the exam, we'll mark it. And if you pass, you become a route expert. If you don't, we give you feedback why you didn't pass, and then you can reapply. And
those questions are typical to the manual. So
most of them are. Some of them will need your own knowledge about.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, about making a review, writing a review. Well, I mean, you can't have that in the manual. You've got to be able to write about the route that you designed. A route itself, you'll be asked to submit a route, one of your routes. Make sure that it's a good route. Check all the route points. Make sure that it's equal for all devices before sending that route in.
And make sure that the route points are exactly on the road, not in the field 30 meters west or east.
Where the red and black lines, when you're using the compare tool from the toolkit, make sure that you place your route points exactly on where the red and black lines converge, which means each route will be followed exactly the same from Garmin, TomTom, and MyRoute-app navigation.
Yeah. Okay, so the exam is really to weed out the people that want to become a route expert and are ready to put some time in. Yeah. I heard Leonor say that she needs sometimes 6 hours for a route. I know that René in the Dutch version said something similar. I can imagine that with your additional tasks, you have quite a few hours that you spend on being a route expert.
I've got 3 routes at the moment. By the way, it's called route.
Route. Well, it's 2 things, right? It's
route is the American pronunciation.
Yeah, well, I keep switching. I've been switching for 2 years. I'll keep switching.
We'll leave it there. At the moment, I've got 3 routes in Wales I'm working on simultaneously.
Yep.
But I keep getting disturbed with other MRA business. But it is fun. I'm enjoying it.
So time doesn't necessarily have to be a restriction for anybody that wants to become a route expert.
No.
You can spend as much or as little time on it as you want.
Absolutely. I might spend half an hour making a route and then go off and do something, one of the jobs that I have to do, and then come back and continue with that route. That's a good thing about it. You can do a little bit, go away, come back and start again.
And is it typically something that only English-speaking people or Dutch-speaking people can do, or can we accommodate route experts from all over the globe?
Timo will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at the moment the manual is only available in Dutch and English. But I think we've got plans for Spanish, Italian, French. Am I correct there, Timo?
And that's correct.
And German, maybe?
We're currently the main language of the route experts is English, even though 80 to 90% of the community is Dutch. Unofficially, Dutch is used obviously a lot as well. As communities grow, there will be more additions to the overall route expert group from Germany, from Spain, Italy, all those regions. But obviously, especially because it requires a lot of cooperation between route experts to do this. Being able to speak English is at least understand it, is a skill that's highly valued, even if you're only using translator. And secondly, the native language communities will only rise up when people that are already part of the route expert community stand up kind of and form their own subdivision in that community that adheres to exactly the same standards.
Yeah, now the reason that I particularly ask is that I know that there's a lot of German riders that are also interested in MyRoute-app and in the RouteXpert Library. But language isn't the limitation, Nick. That's what we concluded, right? And if German is your native tongue, we can surely make it work if you speak at least a little bit of English. We should be able to get you onboarded as a route expert too, right?
Absolutely.
Cool.
And the good thing with the routes, once they've gone into the library, the reviews that we've all written in our own tongue, they get translated by Google.
So you can just write the review and all the interesting.
You write the review in your own tongue, and then if it's written in German, when I open your review, I will see it translated into English.
Oh, perfect. So no limitations there. So language shouldn't be a barrier for anyone to apply.
What we do ask the route experts.
Here, and that is René chiming in. And it's a good one. That he's half German. He says that if German is your preferred language, René can coach you, and Leonor as well. So I know that there's other people like Jürgen that are in the community that also speak native tongue in German. So everybody that wants to join from our German-speaking neighbors are more than welcome to join, right?
Absolutely.
Ja, bitte.
No, that's great. The time flies, Nick. It's almost half past. Is there anything that you want to add to what we have been discussing so far? Maybe call people to apply, or is there anything you want to show us still?
Well, we're always looking out for new route experts. It'd be lovely to welcome some more on board. Apply.
And they can apply just on the website, right?
Absolutely, on the website. Yeah, we look forward to it.
Great. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining me in this half an hour. I enjoyed learning a lot about you guys and about your hobby as being a route expert. I wish you everybody a great evening. And for the people viewing at home or maybe later on Facebook, thank you very much for watching this time. Next week, we have another great guest, both in English and in Dutch. So make sure that you check out the Facebook page and see what's on. For now, have a great evening, stay safe, and see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye.